For all those who don't know us, we are PEP.
Well. Good evening, fellas. Welcome to the 9th episode of Fresh Start Live with Fee and Pat, where the motto is stay ready to keep them getting ready. I'm Pat.
And I'm Fee.
All righty, man. Today we're going to have a pretty good, interesting conversation. We're going to talk about a wise and trusted counselor.
And today we're actually recording in front of a live audience.
Yes. Different feel. Hopefully they won't go to woof, 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 woof. But if they do, that's cool. We're also going to have a good guest today, one who's pretty close to myself. You know, I really view as a brother, but we're going to get to that later.
All right, so the topic is a wise and trusted counselor.
Yes.
All right, so what's one word to sum that up?
Mentor.
Mentor. So what do you know about mentor?
Man, a lot. My life has been defined by the mentors that I have in my life.
Okay. So how many mentors have you had in your life?
In my total life, I would say 8 or more.
8 or more.
8 or more.
Okay. Who was your first mentor?
My first mentor I called Uncle.
Okay.
And he was what, if you know, y'all heard the rap song, he was a trifling mentor, you know, because what I got from him is all the tools that I needed to do wrong, you know.
Okay. So at which part of your life you decided you want a good mentor?
When I realized how such a negative mentor I had been, and it was while I was incarcerated, and I had this young kid come up to me. Well, he wasn't so young by the time we were locked up together. But he told me that when he was young, he used to always wish that I was his brother. And when he said that, I think most people take that as a badge of honor. But for me, it kind of hurt my feelings because I knew his big brother. And I'd actually taught his big brother how to dunk a basketball. And by this time, his brother had graduated college and was an investment banker on Wall Street.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and for him to come and tell me that, and it was at a part in my journey where I'd started to really reflect on my life, but I felt bad and I questioned myself, like, how many other young people had I indirectly impacted to where they also was in prison?
I'm hearing what you're saying is I think the bad mentor, they're using the term that is very, very warm, you know, like uncle, brother, homeboy. And then on the other mentors, the word mentor sounds so, uptight.
Yeah.
It sounds serious.
It's official. You know, you have a mentor that means that, you know what, I automatically have success.
Yeah. So the other one is kind of like you can let your guard down, you know, just follow my uncle, follow my homeboy, follow my brothers or something like that. So how can we change this?
Well, I think one of the ways we change is identifying who we are and what we want.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and growing up in the environment I grew up, which was a female-dominant environment, again, everything I knew about being a man, I got from the streets, and most of it was warped. So in thinking about what was wrong, it made you look at the flip side, what's right. So you start to observe different people and take bits and pieces of how they're living their life. You know, there's probably never going to be one person that you get everything from, but this one might be a great husband. This one might be a great father. This one might be a great businessman.
So you pick and choose which person that's going to mentor you in a certain area.
Yes. You know, a lot of times people mentor you and don't even realize they're mentoring you just by you watching, you know, how they live their life and walk their walk.
How do you run into those people out here?
I mean, I think it's more the places you go, the things you're involved in. You know, like if you're gonna live a productive life, you're gonna be in productive situations. You know, I have so many mentors since my mindset changed. And I think, for instance, like my primary mentor, and absolutely nothing in common. Me being a kid from the inner city, him being 25 years older than myself, and raised in a affluent neighborhood. Y'all may think you have nothing in common, but you know how we got together, how we hooked up. He sent me a book, and the book was Same Different Like Me. And what it is a story of a black homeless man and a white guy and his wife who kind of drew them together. And ironically enough, the book was based in my hometown, based in Fort Worth, true story. But from that book, we started to have conversations, and you start to realize how many similarities we had in life.
Mhm.
Even though our opportunities and resources may have been different, we still had similarities. So
Why do you think it's important for guys who return home from prison to have a mentor?
I mean, because everybody who was there when you left still there, um, still doing what they know to do. And if you go back without an example of something different, then the chances of you falling back into that same peer group, I mean, it's like throwing a white ball in red paint. What's going to impact what the most? You know?
How do you, of course, in PEP, you can find a mentor through PEP Network. But for guys who are not in PEP, how can they find a positive mentor?
The places they go. So you want to know who was one of the first positive mentors I had in my life?
Okay.
And it's crazy. I found him in the least likely place that I thought I ever would. And that was the prison administrator. He was the first black man who'd ever sat down and had a conversation with me in the manner that he did. And he went on to become a warden. He even let me go and visit Tim and Ron on a day when they both had already had visits, and when he retired, it's kind of like, you coming to the retirement, but that was the first positive male figure in my life that made me stop and look at my situation and start to view myself differently.
How can you tell a bad mentor from a good mentor now?
Well, I think for most, if they're not sowing into you to where your life is better, then are they're truly there as support or to mentor you. If there is no accountability, there's no they have no direction for their own life. It's kind of like I tell little girls, if they don't have a plan for their life, how they gonna have a plan for yours? So if they don't have a plan for the entirety of their life, not just their business, because you can be a great businessman and an awful husband and an awful father. And for me, I look for the husband father aspect before I do the business aspect. So, again, I think it's what do you know you need in your life? What have you been honest with yourself about?
So when you looking for a mentor, you already have something in mind. What I'm looking for in a certain mentor?
Actually, not. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know until you find out what you don't know. For instance, other mentors I have, one has mentored me a lot about life in general and what you leave in life. So much as so taking me to lunch in the cemetery or walking through a fish market to teach me a lesson about the 99 different sardines. And another has put me in a position to where I truly look internal inside of myself to build myself. And then I have other mentors, just about life, just about the community and the connectivity.
So the topic of this session is like the wise and trusted counselor.
Yes.
So if you're evaluating a person to be your mentor, you have to assess, is that person wise? And then the other one is, can you trust that person?
Yeah. I think about the people who are mentors in my life don't know they're mentors. Like you, like Tim. Tim was more so than anybody the inspiration that I found to be a great father, or the best father I could, just based upon the stories he shared with me about his relationship with his father. And it's kind of like, I want my son to talk about me like that one day, and just, all of y'all I feel wise, and I know that I can trust y'all. So,
At this point in your life, are you ready to be somebody's mentor?
Yeah. So I've actually been mentoring kids for years, but I just stepped into the role as a formal mentor for an adult. And it was actually an opportunity that came up 4 years ago while I was going through my son's situation with him back and forth between here and Fort Worth. And I told a guy at the time, I was like, you know what, I don't have time to do it right now. I can't focus on it. So a couple of years after that, the situation came up again with another guy. Look, I'm a part of this program and I need a mentor. Will you mentor me? And because he was in Dallas, I was in Houston again, I had an excuse not to do it. But this time, because came from the one of the least likeliest places that I expected, and the timing of it, it was kind of like I feel like, you know what, this is the same program. So God has something in this for me, or He's going to keep sending it to me. So I said yes. So for the first time in my life, I am formally mentoring an adult.
So you on both sides, mentor and mentee.
Yes.
How long does it take until you guys build that trust? Because it doesn't happen right away. It's not like on the very first meeting you say, okay, you my mentor, I'm your mentee, and you start open your heart and everything to that person, and that person give you enlightenment, and then wow, it's a great session. Let's do it again.
So
How long does it take?
interesting enough, timing is everything, but I think first you have to have a mutual respect. So, like for the guy that I'm mentoring him, you know how he actually wanted me to mentor him because we'd gone to dinner one day and sitting in Taco Cabana, and I just kind of like, I was just so transparent with him about who I was, where I came from, and what I've gone through in my mindset. And it's kind of like what I didn't realize, and just sharing that with him, that he was actually filing that away. And he went home and he talked to his wife about it. And 2 days later, I got basically voluntold. And it's kind of like, okay. And I guess, when we're looking for mentors, we're looking for people, like you say, in a moment, what do I need? If it's business, I'm looking at their business. If it's life, I'm looking at their life. And I trust, because of the decisions they made for themselves, that they'll give me that input and feedback that I desire. Hopefully it's biblical, something that I can back in scripture.
Yeah, from my experience, if you know what you want, I think Google could be your mentor. Right? You can go online and Google anything.
Yeah.
It's like, should I do this? Should I do that? You just Google it. But and then the value of a mentor is somebody who show you the way that you didn't even think of.
How was your mentoring experience?
Well, it's I think everybody in PEP thinks I have a ghost mentor because he's never been to any event, haven't been to prisons. But him and I was a second match of PEP. All right. He never talked about business with me when we was mentoring me, and I've been go and see him 5-6 times, and this is like we've seen once a month, not once a week. And like the 6-7 time, I say, man, I'm wasting this guy time, or he wasting my time. Either one of them, because it seemed like we're not really working on anything, and all he's talking about was his wife, his kid, hobby that he doing with his kid. I said, why are you telling me all of this? I mean, literally, I know that he was preparing me when I had my own kids, and everything that I'm dealing with my wife, my kids, and it's come natural because he telling me all the things that he doing. I'm just emulating exactly what he's saying, and the reason why he doing it.
Gave you the cheat code before you even knew you was going to play the game.
Yeah, exactly. That, to me, that is a great mentor right there. It's somebody who show you the way that you never thought of, and actually train you to do it that you didn't even know.
So it had a value that at the time you didn't realize or recognize the value because it wasn't your reality at the time.
Yeah. But have I looking into say, okay, I've been seeing this guy 6 times, 7 times. This is a waste of time. I'm gonna cut it off, and I would cheat myself.
Yeah.
Right. It just keep coming back and talking to him and seeing him. Months after months, and that's I mean, to me, that's a good price to pay for.
So one other thing about my mentor, my primary mentor. So he's got a piece of video footage at his house, and it's the only place that I know that it exists. And every time I go to his house, he's got to play it for me. And it's the moment when my son threw the winning touchdown in the game. What I didn't realize is that on the Videotron, they had a picture of me and Marcus on the Videotron, and he recorded it at that time on Fox Sports, and I can't find it nowhere. But I go to his house and he's got it.
Well, that's one way to stay connected with you.
Yeah.
Keep you coming back.
He good people though.
All right. So at this time, it's a weekly reconnaissance mission.
Yes, but unfortunately, this week, fellas, been a short week. We don't have any dates, PEP blind dates this week. But again, I encourage you guys, sign up. Y'all see these real fly orange shirts for you wearing. They say Reconn Unit on the back. I encourage you guys, get with Harvey, get with your life caddy, and don't miss out on the opportunity, man, to be in a mentor position with some of these guys fresh out who may need, even if it's just a powerful word or just a presence, because they're going to get so much from us as staff, but what they get from you as a brother is going to go a lot deeper. So don't miss out on the opportunity.
This is in line with our topic. So you're not quite the mentor, but you can show them the rope.
Yeah.
Encouragement.
Very much so. Which is kind of like we got our guest coming up, because in many ways he kind of mentored me when he got out. When I got out, it's kind of like I was his teacher on the inside. He got out before I did, got in position, and we'll talk about a little bit about that later on.
All right, Roberto.
Big G, thank you for joining us, bro.
Thank you for having me.
The hardest man to pin down and get on because he's busy. So when thinking about mentoring, man, let's talk a little bit about your life.
So how long have you been out?
12 and a half years.
12 and a half years. And prior to that, was your first time in there, or have you been in there quite a few times?
I did 2 stretch, a 6 and an 8.
Okay, so what's different this time? How come you've been out for so long?
Well, I entered into a relationship with Christ Jesus, coming back into my 8-year sentence.
Okay. And I also noticed that, you raised a son, and
Yes, so when I got out, 6 months from getting out, I gained custody of my son, who was 9.5 years old.
and where is he now?
He's now serving the country in the USS Navy.
I remember you were telling me every time that you're coming home late, little G would call you.
Every night, if I'm not home by 9 o'clock, he gonna call me, Uncle Pat, where you at? I'm praying for you. And that made me also evaluate a lot of what I was doing in life, make sure that, this kid is watching me, and shot me back. Yeah.
And you also own a business, right?
Yes.
Because how long have you run this business?
So I got about 10 years running a side business, and I've been blessed with an opportunity to acquire property, or start acquiring a piece of property through my mentor, who was a PEP executive. And also I've worked for the same company for 12 years. And as I was looking for different opportunities, they offered me the opportunity to become partner in the company.
Mm.
And you remarried also, right? How long ago was it?
I remarried going on 10 years this July.
Wow. That's
Okay, so let me kind of pause for a second. I'm kind of doing a little inventory, all right? So you've been to prison twice. You got out. This time you stay out for like 12 years already. You gained custody of your son, and you raised him, graduated from high school. Now he's serving the military in the Navy, right? And then you remarry and stay with the marriage for 10 year ongoing. You started your business. You own home now.
My home is part of the property that I acquired. Yes,
Okay, so you own.
And he's got 2 bonus sons in the process.
yes. I got. I've also with my marriage, I was blessed with the opportunity to be able to father 2 other young men. I got him at the age of 2, which is Oswaldo, and the oldest one was, I believe, 12, and he's now getting ready to graduate from the University of Houston.
Wow. So I mean, if I have to give a definition of a journey for successful, everything that I just summarized about you would be it. Right. So we want to know your secret. Of course, you gave credit to our creators, but what is your secret? What is it? One thing that is different in your life when you got out of prison.
I guess I got tired of not of trying to live the lifestyle that I lived, and there was no way that I could have a different outcome. You know, when the Lord saved me, I was an administrative seg, and I was looking at a federal life sentence because of my prior gang affiliations, and so my conversion to Christ was very difficult. But I had to um, make very deep inventory and start a transformation from the inside out. And God used my son to to break me down, to grind me, and to grind me even to finer grind, to just break me. And I became, God used him to break me down in order to be able to be fashioned in the potter's hands.
So knowing you all of these years and knowing your relationship with your mentor, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being very little and 10 being abundantly, how would you say having that relationship with your mentor has blessed your life?
Um, Beyond anything I could ever have imagined.
So when did he start mentoring you?
So funny thing was that when we were going through the unit, I just kind of hang tight, kind of hang out in the back, and really didn't engage many people. Kind of just stayed to myself. And I would see him, come and talk to people, and I never talked to him in prison. But when we came back on my first return, which was a couple months after being released, due to one of my PEP brothers, Christian Hernandez, he was talking to him and his partner, and was like, "We gotta go." So that's how I met them, and never in my world did I imagine that his influence in my life would catapult my life to where I am now.
So he's still mentoring you
Oh, every day.
every day.
We're on the phone almost every day. In the 12 years that I've known him, he's been more of a father figure to me. He's talked to me in truth and love, um, and he's just, you know, I am blessed beyond means by having him in my life.
And I think that, well, I don't think, I'll just let you tell us. Because I also know another part of your life, and I've seen, like I was saying earlier, I've watched you mentor so many, because there was a point where, in many ways, you were even mentoring me, because we lived together for a period of time, which you opened your door to me, you and your son, you opened your door to me. So, do you think having that relationship with your mentor has put you in position to where you give that back?
Mm, yes, but also I think that that's where God's giving me that platform. For example, the business that I run, I'm given the opportunity to mentor young men, and that's where my passion's at. mentoring, young men that have gone into the hamster wheel and they're just going, didn't go to college, didn't get a trade. And the 12 years that I've worked for my company, God just put a burden on that group of young men. And, I get to spend anywhere from 6 to 7 months riding, daily in a vehicle and sharing with them. And I've had to fire many of them. But I think that that's where God has, kind of given me the peace, like it says in Corinthians, one sows, one water, but only God causes the increase. And I would always say, well, God, when can I see the fruit? And he would say to me, well, you can't, it's not up to you to see the fruit. All you got to do is sow the seed and let me do the rest of the work.
So for the audience that watching right now or watching it later, what advice would you give it to them in relation to mentor?
To relationship of needing a mentor. I
Yeah,
don't understand the
because
question.
it will take you talking about like during the event you stay back and you kind of approach Bob and you took some initiative and you what do you have to do to maintain that relationship with a mentor?
Well, you got to be willing to listen with an open ear, not have any preconceptions. And even though what they say might not be what you want to hear, but then you have to sit down and ponder it and reanalyze it and run it through scenarios in order to come to the conclusion that you need to come to.
Cool. Well, bro, we really appreciate you taking this time to come and hang out with us. I mean, it means everything, You already know the love I have for you, and but this part of the program, we go into PEP updates. You're welcome to stay if you want, or you can step off. But everybody who's still here right now is diehard PEP guys. So before we get into the update, let's acknowledge them. XCOM Fitness, who's had a 100% participation in attendance. Brandon Green, who's at about 95. Cooking in the hammer lane. Oh my God. All right. What's up, Fredo?
That's 2 weeks in a row. Huh?
2 weeks in a row. Let's see if we're gonna get him for
I
three.
thought he was going to be here today.
I thought he was too. I
Okay.
extended the invite to him, but he's got an excuse. But glad you guys joined us, and anybody else that I missed, we'll get to you before we end. So let's get into the segment of PEP updates. So inside prison, Estes, their class began today.
You know how many guys?
40 guys.
40?
They have 43 guys.
43.
Guys.
Wow.
Yeah, so-
Last time they gave me a count with 31, and I was a little bit
they
concerned.
They got 43 guys. 3 of them was supposed to have been at Cleveland. Actually, 7 of them was supposed to have been at Cleveland, but got transferred over there. And at Bell Unit, we are prepping for our first ever 100% virtual event this Friday. Since we can't take our executives into prison, our plan is to bring the prison out to them. So we'll update you next week on how that went.
All right, for the outside, today is the first day we restarting e-school in person, both in Houston and Dallas. So it's going to be a little bit shocking for the new guys who have never been to e-school in person before. And you remember your first time going to e-school in person?
I do.
Where was it?
We were at Rice.
Where was your?
Rice.
Rice?
Yeah.
I remember we all have to dress up, right?
Yes, sir. We
Yes.
did.
Button shirts and slacks, and we got to walk across that long parking lot.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a lot different now.
Right.
We was always the cleanest person in there, other than the professors, though.
Yeah. All right, so e-school start today, both Houston and Dallas. Outside B2B, our Shark Tank's going to start on September 23rd. We have begun calling. So if we have not called you and you have a business or a need to grow your business and want to consider, give me a call. here at the PEP office.
You better coffee train. Call it. BK, we see you came in, bro. We appreciate you attending. So it's that time of the day, fellas. I'm gonna see if I can get y'all again this week. This is just get easier and easier and easier, man. I don't know what's going on. So the Starbucks quiz this week. If don't nobody win this week, we just gonna shut it down. What PEP event was held every Father's Day prior to the last 2 years? Simmer on that. So as y'all simmer on that, fellas, we're gonna get up out of here. Y'all hit me up if you got the answer before tomorrow. Ask a friend. But as we go, remember, we're on a mission to celebrate 1 million stories. And with Gilberto here with us today, we're one closer to that goal. Also keep this in mind. Freedom demands responsibility, but responsibility demands accountability. So until we meet again, peace.
All right, guys. See y'all next week.
For all those who don't know us, we are PEP.